Hey Life Warrior, quick question for you to ponder for a moment. What if peace wasn't something that you found outside, but something that was within your own awareness? I want to introduce to you today that this concept of self-realization as the heart of yoga. I'm going to be covering a text rather than a verse today. We're going to unpack sort of the essence of the teachings that you find in the Upanishads. And the essence of the Upanishadic teachings are Ātma-darśanam śāntam. Ātma-darśanam śāntam. And this Sanskrit means that self-realization brings peace. This is the essence of the teachings of all the Upanishads, the core gem that it is trying to convey to you. Self-realization brings peace. So again, this is not a verse that's found in a specific chapter of the Upanishads. It's really a summary of a core theme and a common spiritual idea rather than a direct quote from a chapter or a verse. This concept of attaining peace and happiness through realization of the self, or what the yogis call Atma, is a central teaching throughout many Upanishads, emphasizing the unity of the individual soul and the universal reality, which in the Upanishads is called Brahman. The Upanishads consistently teach that understanding your true nature, Atman, leads to inner peace and freedom from suffering. You also find this in the Ayurvedic texts from Charak Samhita, where, the first cause of disease is forgetting our true nature as spirit, forgetting the true self as Atma. And a common idea, this idea of self-realization bringing peace, is a widely understood and repeated teaching within the broader context of Vedic philosophy. It is one of the core tenets of all Vedic teachings, understanding the true self as something different from the temporary self, or what we might often hear called the false self. False just meaning because it's not forever, because it's not eternal, because it has a beginning and an end. It's not the true aspect of who you are. And when we get really caught up in that part of us, we neglect and forget and become disconnected from the eternal soul or the Atma that we are. And in that connection is where we find true peace, or where we access our true peace. So let's break down this Sanskrit for you here. We started with Atmana, or Atma. Atma means self or soul. You might hear also the word jiva referencing the soul. These are interchangeable words, but Atma, Darshanam, seeing. Darshana means to see, like dristi. You've probably heard of the word dristi if you've been practicing yoga and the teacher says find your dristi. We think that to mean focus, but it means to see something, right? And true darshanam, true seeing, is a realization or real true vision. Okay, and then śāntam is peace or tranquility. So again, this Sanskrit sentence encapsulates, because it's not a verse from a chapter, but this sentence encapsulates knowing yourself deeply is the foundation of lasting peace. We know about our personality, maybe we know where we were born, we know a little bit about our history, but those are temporary things that we experience just in this lifetime. Knowing the soul that is behind that experience, the one that is experiencing all of it, knowing the knower, as they say, is what brings us a foundation to having lasting peace in our lives. The body is ever changing. The world is ever changing. It's constant. The soul is eternal and always is as it is, untouched by anything. And the Vedic teachings and the Upanishad especially is emphasizing this awareness, and almost all yogic practices are designed to help us experience realization of the true self, this expression that we hear often, self-realization. I know that we're not yogis who can just go, live in a cave in the Himalayas and meditate for 40 years. So I want to talk about this as it pertains to you in your modern day life. So as always, I'm going to drop 5 points for you here. Point number 1, self-awareness dissolves your restlessness. Okay. This question of who am I and why am I here? it plagues all of us at some point in our lives. And this awareness of the true self, of the Atma, it helps to dissolve that restlessness that we have. Much of our anxiety comes from being disconnected from who we truly are. We get caught chasing external validation or comparing ourselves to others. And although, we want to have a connection with our human self, we should not negate that part of us. Our foundation should be in our connection to our true self, the soul of who we are. And in that connection, we have a solid foundation and something that is never changing. How might we actually practice this concept? Like, how do we put it into daily practical use? You want to take time daily to reflect on your inner state instead of running from it. Stillness, journaling, or mindful pauses will bring awareness. Like, just take time to just be. This is partly why a yoga practice can be very, very powerful, especially when you drop into that shavasana at the end and then you come out and you do a meditation. You've prepared yourself to really be settled in that stillness. And in that stillness, we can access our peace, because in the stillness, we are able to access the true self, the Atma, instead of the moving mind, right? The manas. So you can ask yourself during the day, am I acting from truth or am I acting from pressure? This awareness itself begins to calm the mind. When we can start to make decisions from our innermost self, rather than from the chattering mind, the manas, then we're starting to go deeper than like the human aspects of who we are in our decision making. Point number 2 is true peace is inner. It's not circumstantial. True peace is inner. It's inside. True peace is really within you. It is not based on circumstances. I don't know if you've ever met somebody who is just very, very aware and attuned to what's going on, but also very grounded and very peaceful. I have been blessed to meet people like this, and it is astounding to see the depth of calm and peacefulness that they have, even in the face of challenge and difficulty or heightened emotions. It's palpable and it's potent. And it isn't bypassing. It isn't that you're disconnected. It's just a level of peace that really comes from within and is not dependent upon circumstances, everything going well, success happening all the time, having a perfectly curated, peaceful space. This is why I say that bluff yoga, if you are a student of ours out at the Bluff, is advanced yoga, because there's so much busyness going on out there and so much activity that it does really take a lot more focus and effort and intention to arrive at a place of peace in a public space like that. It's easier when you go to a yoga studio that's been curated for peaceful vibes. And we need that sometimes because it's already hard. Our lives are already challenging and difficult. So going to a place that is curated to help you drop into that peace is beneficial. And also being in places, ultimately we need to also be in places where it's harder to maintain our peace and practice being peaceful in those difficult places. So true peace is inner and not circumstantial. Circumstances are constantly shifting. Peace based on circumstances is temporary. Real peace arises from alignment with yourself, the true self with a capital S, regardless of external ups and downs. How can we practice this? Begin to notice when you're quote unquote waiting for life to settle before you allow yourself to feel peace. Instead, I want you to practice cultivating calm in the present moment. You might say things like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, or I feel like a disaster is right around the corner, right? We're waiting for the chaos to settle, or we're waiting for the sabotage to happen, either end of the spectrum. And we're not allowing ourselves to really practice cultivating calm moment to moment, even in the face of all the stuff that we're dealing with. So when something stressful happens, pause, breathe, and affirm, peace is my choice right now. Peace is my choice right now. Point number 3, seeing the self clearly equals freedom from illusion. Illusion, or as the yogis call it, Maya, keeps us trapped in false identities. When you see your true nature, you're freed from the endless cycle of chasing worth that is based on those identities. Right? We can kind of break away from the hustling for our worthiness kind of life when we are able to really rest in our true identity. To do this, you can spend time in self-inquiry. Journaling is a great practice for this. Who am I beneath my roles, my titles, and my stories? It's good to ask yourself and ponder these things. Who am I beneath my roles, my titles, and my stories? Who is the one watching me ask those questions? Who is the one noticing that I'm having thoughts? There's a part of you that is noticing those things. There's a part of you that's noticing when you're struggling with doubt, you're struggling with insecurities. Who is the one that is noticing that? What part of you? And then you can write one sentence each day affirming your deeper truth. I am not my roles, I am the witness within. I am not my roles, I am the witness within. Point number 4, self-realization aligns you with your dharma. Okay, when you know yourself, you know your path. Dharma flows naturally when you live in alignment with your true essence. There is a kind of clarity that gives rise to knowing when you are connected with this more core essence of who you really are, the true you, right? The part of you that exists beyond this body. When you have a connection to that, or when you are cultivating a connection with that, there is a deep alignment that happens that comes with deep clarity that allows you to live more purposefully and more intentionally from a soul level rather than from the mental chatter level. So how can we practice this? Pay attention to what feels both natural and purposeful for you. This is where self-realization guides you. It's the kind of knowing that kind of goes beyond logic and rationale. There is a knowing that you just sometimes you can't explain, but you know. That's the wisdom of the soul speaking to you. Each week you can ask yourself, what action this week feels most true to my soul's nature? Point number 5, peace flows naturally from inner knowing. So peace is not something that you manufacture. It arises effortlessly when you are aligned with your true self. Just like you can't actually do meditation. You do practices that allow for meditation to happen, the experience of meditation to happen. Same with peace. When you do practices that allow you to connect with the part of you that is beyond name and form and ego and roles and labels and identity, when you can connect beyond that, to the spirit of who you are, as I like to call it, that is where this peace arises effortlessly, because you become aware of and more aligned with this other part of you that embodies that peace. The essence of it is peacefulness and bliss. So ways that we can practice achieving this is focus on remembering, not striving. Remembering the true self, remembering the soul of who you are. Don't try to make it happen. Just like meditation, the more you try to make it happen, the less likely it is going to happen. You're just going to push it away. So you can try at the end of each day reflecting, where did I feel most at peace today? And how was I aligned with my true self? I know that these are kind of, what we're talking about is an ethereal subject, but there are ways to do very material human things that allow us to connect to the more ethereal aspect of who we are. This really is the entire essence of all yogic practices. Doing material things that help us connect with the ethereal aspect of who we really are. Don't forget that you can do daily reflections instead of daily distractions. This will also help you connect with the spirit of who you are, and choosing authenticity over external validation. Choosing to really just connect to the true you as opposed to people pleasing your way through life is also another way that you start to connect to the soul of who you are, the spirit of who you are. And of course, I have some reflective questions, some more deep reflective questions, journal prompts really for you here today. What truth about myself am I being called to see more clearly? Okay, again, this is about seeing the true self. So what truth about myself am I being called to see more clearly? Where do I lose peace by trying to be who I'm not? It's a powerful question to ask yourself. Where do I lose peace by trying to be who I'm not? What brings me into alignment with my true self? These are really important things for you to consider. What practices, what activities bring you into alignment with your true self? And what masks or roles do I cling to? Is there anything that you overly identify as or with? It's not that it's wrong to have labels and to have a connection to your human identity, but if we're clinging to them, or if we're using those as like masks that keep a covering, that keep us or prevent us from actually connecting with true self, the spirit soul that is having the experience as the human that you are, then this keeps us really disconnected from our true self. And again, I'll remind you, as Ayurveda says, this is the first cause of dis-ease, when we forget our true nature as spirit. So what masks or roles do I cling to? Another question you can ask is, how do I know when I'm being authentic? This is a great question. This is something that I work on a lot with my coaching clients, is how do I know when I'm being authentic? I'm going to let you answer that question. If you are struggling with this one and you don't know, I really encourage you to check out my Empowered Living community. I'm going to leave the link for you below. We do a lot of work on authenticity. And last question is, what might open if I embraced my full self-awareness? What might actually open if I embraced my full self-awareness? What might open from within me if I allowed myself to embrace this full self-awareness and I stopped seeing myself as a limited human being and recognize that I'm actually an unlimited spirit soul? My words of encouragement for you here is, you don't need to become more. You just need to remember who you are. Peace isn't outside of you. And don't get me wrong, certain environments, certain places, certain things can help you access your peace more, absolutely. But the peace that you're looking for is within, right? Peace isn't outside you. It's who you are when you see clearly. When you have that drishti, that true vision, when you can see clearly, you can access that peace that you are. Okay, if you liked this video, please do me a big favor, hit the like button. I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and maybe share this video with somebody who is, curious about yogic philosophy and what yoga is about, or someone who's studying yoga philosophy and wants some clear understanding of the essence of all yogic teachings, which is self-realization and ultimately God realization. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget, you can join my free online community called the Empowered Living Community. I'll drop the link below. You just have to become a member. All of my Monday messages live there with the PDF downloadable journal prompts. So I will have some deeper prompts, including the questions that I proposed to you here. Those questions will be down below, but the deeper dive downloadable PDF will live on the Empowered Living Community platform. So please become a member. It's free to join. Just create a membership, join, and I'd love to have you in there. And yeah, have an amazing week. So much love from me to you, from my heart to yours. Please remember to keep your head held high and your heart open wide.